Now, as the Ukrainian incursion continues in the Russian region of Kursk, thousands of Ukrainian civilians are ordered to flee in the face of advancing Russian troops. The city of Pokrovsk in the east is not far from the Russian border, and residents are giving up hope that they can remain. We can go across now to France 24's Gulliver Cragg, standing by. Gulliver, Russian forces are quickly advancing near Pokrovsk. What more do we know at this stage?
Well, Pokrovsk at the beginning of this year was the furthest Ukrainian-held city in the eastern region of Donbass from the front line. Now it's the closest, I think. The Russians are at about 10 kilometers from the gates of the city. They're expanding the area of land that they control to the east and southeast of Pokrovsk, taking villages in that area. And there seems to be a widespread expectation in Ukraine that they will reach the city of Pokrovsk, and there are great fears that it will be very heavily bombarded soon. I've been communicating via messages with a Ukrainian soldier who's defending in that direction, and he says that the Russian aviation is constantly bombing them with these glide bombs, forcing them to abandon their positions and retreat. And he was pretty pessimistic about the situation. He said it was extremely difficult, and he was a bit bitter about this operation in Kursk region in Russia, saying why weren't those military resources sent in our direction to help us defend Pokrovsk instead of taking land in another country. The idea, of course, or one of them, is that the Russians will be forced to divert their own military resources to defend Kursk region, and that will make things a bit easier here. That's not being seen yet, but other soldiers I've been speaking to in this region have said that it yet might. They say that Pokrovsk has industrial areas on the east of the city that constitute sort of natural defenses, if you like, for the Ukrainians. They can defend the city very well on the edge of the city, and perhaps the Russians will eventually run out of men, run out of strength to attack Pokrovsk. These were soldiers, though, who weren't fighting in the Pokrovsk area. They had actually just arrived from Chasiv Yar, another very important target for the Russians.
Gulliver, you've been speaking with soldiers on the ground in Donbass. What have they been telling you?
So these soldiers I was just mentioning had come from Chasiv Yar for a bit of rest and recuperation. They were extremely tired, and they described an absolutely hellish scene in Chasiv Yar, where the Ukrainians for months now have been defending this small but strategically located hilltop town just to the west of Bakhmut. Now, the Russians haven't managed to cross the canal that runs on the eastern edge of the town, and these soldiers, despite the very difficult situation under constant bombardment, with the Russians also dropping mines that then create even tripwires that they can drop from planes, so you have to be constantly looking down at your feet and up in the sky because of the drones. Despite this relentless bombardment, they said the Russians keep trying to storm the town, but they really just can't make it across the canal. They keep being forced back by the Ukrainians, and these soldiers at least seem pretty confident that Ukraine would be able to continue to defend Chasiv Yar.
Gulliver, thank you very much for that. Gulliver Cragg reporting there.